Hello everyone, my name is Hassan, and in this video I will be showing you how to create your documentation for your Julia package and host it on GitHub Pages. So eventually what we're looking at is to create a package and within GitHub and host all the documentation within that package into GitHub Pages, just like this. You can see here this is a really nicely done package that I recommend to reference for anything that you need in terms of package development or just documentation. So here's the documentation for that package. As you can see here, we are hosting it in then GitHub Pages, and yeah, eventually by the end of the video, hopefully we'll be able to do something like this. All right, so what we'll be doing today is first create the Julia package locally. So on your computer, create and initialize the Julia package. And after that, we will initialize the documentation for the Julia package within your computer also. And then we will host the Julia package to GitHub server. And the GitHub client that I will be using is called GitKraken. This. And it's free if you're using public repository, but you feel free to use any GitHub client if you would like to. But in this video, I'm using GitKraken. And after that, what we'll be doing is actually initializing the documentation and host it on the GitHub pages using GitHub Actions. All right, so first of all, what we'll be doing right now is generate your Julia package in your computer, and to do that I will be using another Julia package called PkgTemplates to give you a template that you will then be able to use it to create your package. Alright, so in order to do that, what we'll be doing is I'm gonna be using Visual Studio VS Code to work on this project. And what I like to do is I usually create just a new file for Julia for Julia project. I'd like to do something like this: create a .jl file and save it somewhere you know, and then I will be working on this file to do everything from now on. So the first thing you need to do is to download this PkgTemplates into your Julia. So in order to do that, let me just run Julia REPL here. So this is why I'm using get VS Code, because allow me to edit the code and also interact with Julia directly here. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm gonna enter I'm gonna type the square bracket to enter to my package environment or package manager, and then from there I can just add and then PkgTemplates. And then it will take some time until it downloads it. Alright, so now the package is downloaded. You can just, in your package manager, you can click ST, and then you will see it here, downloaded. Alright, what you need to do is you can go ahead and read about that package. I will leave a link for you to read through it, but we will be using this command to create our template first. So in order to do that, we're going to be doing first is you need to type in using PkgTemplates, and this will PKG, and then this will basically call the package in order to use it in the current environment. And then you need to enter this command right here. So what we'll be doing is replace the user with your GitHub username. You can change it later, but prefer to just do it from the beginning. And then whoever authors you are working with. So if you want to add another author, you can just do this and add the whole how many authors you have. If you have like multiple ones. And then for the plugins, you can add whatever plugins you want. But for now, I'm just using Travis CI, and also I'm specifying the MIT license just to make sure everyone can use it. I'm adding Travis CI, although we're not using it. I'm just in the future if I want to host my documentation Travis CI, I'm just adding it from there. All right, so now we need to run this line. So it's running, it's creating all the templates. All right, so now the template is created. What you need to do is you need to call your template TMP in this case, and then inside here you type your package name. So I'm gonna call my package as PKG test. You can call out whatever you want, and this name will be hosted in GitHub. So for example, in this case where the name is ISA. So if you want to call your package ISA, you just type ISA here. All right, so now what this command did is actually created an empty package inside the dev folder. So in order to go to the dev folder, you can go to C folder, then users, and then your username, and .julia, then dev folder. If you install it somewhere else, you will find it there. And then here is my package called package PKG test. And whenever you do that again, it will bring it here. So we have here an empty package that you can use to host your code in. All right, so next step is, so now what we have done is we generated our package, and then what we need to do is to dev the package. So if I go, the reason why we need to go to dev the folder is if I go to the package manager again and I click ST to show all my packages, I'm not gonna find the package that I just created here. So what you need to do is to type in dev and then the package name. So PKG test in my case, and then it's, as you can see here, successfully added the package to your environment. So now if you type st again, you will see your package here. You will see your package here, as you can see here, PKG test. All right, so next step is go ahead and activate your package environment. So in order to do that, you can just type in activate and then your package name. So PKG tests. And then, as you can see here, we are in the new environment. So instead of just the global Julia environment, we are now within our package. And if I click ST, it will tell me that this package is empty since I didn't add anything yet. All right, so from here, what I like to do is actually open the folder from the dev folder, and then pkg test, wherever you called your package. I'm gonna open it here, and then what we need to do next step, I'm opening it here just so we can browse everything within our package. All right, so the next step is to add the documenter and DocumnterTools Julia packages to the new environment. So what does that mean is whenever you are activated within the new package, add both these packages. So add the documenter and also DocumnterTools, and it need to be within the package. So you have to select this package before you add these two packages. And these two packages, as you can see here, if I click st, I will have two packages installed within my environment. And these two packages, what we use it for is to initialize the documentation for our folder. So what you need to do now is you use these two packages with this command to generate the docs folder. So as you can see, within our package folder, we don't have the docs folder. So these packages will add that. So in order to do that, you have to type in documenter tool. First of all, you need to be using the two packages. So using documenter and documenter tools, and run this line. All right, so now we have it running. What you need is to call the generate function, which will generate the Julia code. So the generate function is located within the documenter tools. So and then dot and then generate, and I believe you will receive an error, or never mind. Sometimes if you receive an error, that means you are not within the package. So right now I'm within the package, so I didn't receive the error. So sometimes if you receive an error, you can check by typing print working directory, and as you can see here, I'm within the package. If you are not within the package, you need to come here and change directly. Right click on the package name and then change directly to the change to this directly, or you can do change directly from here directly. Which have, as you can see, you can read about the cd function. All right, so now we generated the after running this line, we have generated an empty docs folder with everything we need to host the package actually. So next step is to create an empty repository in GitHub. So this is where I'm gonna be using GitKraken to do that. And you can use, as I mentioned earlier, you can use whatever GitHub client. So in order to initialize a new repository, click on files and then initialize repo. And I'm initializing it on GitHub, so I'm gonna click GitHub and I'm gonna select the account. So of course I'm assuming you already have your GitHub account connected with GitKraken. So when you click here, you should see your account, and these are just your organization. So if you want to host your package within organization, you can do that too, but I'm just gonna use my username, and then I'm gonna give it the exact same name. So pkg, what if I called it test? Let me make sure. Yeah, so pkg test, and then don't forget the JL. So the reason why I'm adding JL is because typically if you want to host your package and make it official, you have to have the .jl within GitHub account. So, and then I'm not gonna add any description. I'm gonna leave it public. Also, an important step is you don't want to clone this repository to your computer. So just unclick this. So the reason why we are doing this because we already created the folder here within the dev. So if you just clone it, it will bring this folder here, which we don't want because we already have it. So I'm not gonna clone it, and create repository. Then it was successfully created, and I can access it from here. So now we have an empty repository that we can host our code and package documentation on. All right, so next step. Next step is to open that package that we just created within Julia and get Kraken. So in order to do that is go to get Kraken and all on the file, create and then click on open repo. All right, so open repository, and then I'm gonna browse to the package name within the dev folder, as I mentioned earlier, and then pkg test. So then here can click select folder. So now this is the new package within Get Kraken. So this far we are not connected to GitHub actually. So wherever you have in here, it's not going to be hosted in GitHub yet. To do that, what you need to do is you click on the remote here, and on the origin you click edit origin, and then what you need to do is go to your actual Julia package here, and then just copy the URL in here. Usually it will bring it directly, but sometimes it will leave it empty, or it will add it without the JL, but we want the JL because that's what the actual package within GitHub is called. So then error remote, and then I'm gonna stage all changes. I'm gonna just call this probably generated package. So this is our first commit, and then I just commit it, and then what you need to do is to push all the changes to GitHub. And then by default, I'm just gonna use the main branch. All right, so now it's successfully pushed into GitHub. You can go again to GitHub here and refresh, and you will see all your code here. So now we are successfully connected to GitHub. And if you're not familiar with this, whenever you, for example, in your code here, if you change anything within the source file or something like that, so for example, if I add another dot here and then save the file, what you need to do in order to see it on GitHub is to actually commit the change, for example, and push the changes again. I'm gonna just force push because I didn't do anything on GitHub. So now we successfully pushed the other file. So for example, if I go here, you'll see the second dot here. So this is how you typically push to GitHub. All right, so now we are done with that step. What we need to do, as I mentioned, you need to change the repository remote origin to wherever you have in your GitHub. As I mentioned earlier, you need to change your repository remote origin to whatever you have in your GitHub account. As you can see here, this is just an example. We already have done this step, and we already done this step too. So pushed our first commit to main, and by default it's called main. You can call it master or whatever branch you would like to call it. All right, so now we are done with this step. What we will do now is to actually create a new file called documenter.yml. So this is a GitHub workflow, and it will basically tell GitHub to update the documentation whenever you push new changes. So, all right. So, for easiest way to do it is if you'd like, you can go ahead and read through it within this link here about documentation. It's pretty long, so I'm gonna skip it. What you can do is you can just go to this example that we have here. This is just an example that we are using, and it will be the same every time, so you don't need to change anything. And what you need to do is actually to copy everything here. Another way to do it is, I believe you can click on row, and it will basically open a new file. You can save it, and the location that we need to save this file to is within your package inside the GitHub workflows. So again, dev folder, the new package that you created, and then .github, and then workflow, and then you need to just download, remove the .txt because we want the YML extension, and then just save that file here. All right, so just to make sure, let's go ahead and see what happened here. So we have the new folder here. As you can see here, what this basically saying is whenever there is a push on the master branch, do everything here, and it will basically, you don't need to worry about this a lot. It's just gonna tell GitHub to update the documentation. And if you notice, we have the branch called master here, but we need to change it since we have in our folder we have it called main. So this is our branch. We're only using the main folder and not the master. So you need to change this to main in order for this to work. All right. So next step, just make sure you select the correct branch, master or main. Usually that's what they call it, but in this case we're using the default one, which is the main. And all right, so this step is very important. So here what we will do is create two tokens or keys. One of them will be public GitHub token, and the other one will be secret, so don't share it with anyone. So in order to do that is you go back again to your package environment. Change something here. And then don't forget to save everything whenever you're done. Again to your package environment, and you need to make sure you are within your package environment and not, for example, the other global environment. So you need to be using again the documenter tools, and then you create gen keys, so generate keys, which will generate the two keys we talked about. All right, so I'm just gonna, you can put it directly into here, into the REPL or command line, and it should generate your two keys. So we have the two keys. We have the SSH key, which will basically connect to GitHub, and we have the secret key, which will basically act as a password. So what you need to do is within your GitHub page, the new package that you just created, you go to settings. This is very important step, so just do it correctly. What you need to go is under settings, you go to deploy keys and add deploy key. So what you will add here is the first key that you got, so this one, and you need to copy it exactly without any space, without anything extra. So you add that here, and you need to allow write access. Let's see, so you can read through it here. I believe they have everything written here, and if you read through it, you will see that you need to change the name to something like, I believe, documenter for the first key. Let me just make sure. Yeah, so you need to just call it documenter in this case. Where is it? All right, so here you just call it documenter. This is our SSH key. Make sure you don't have any extra space, any extra line, then add key. So this is, and then of course you need to confirm, because this is very important steps. Usually they will ask you for your password. All right, so next what you need to do is copy the second key, which is called documenter key, into the secret actions new repository secret. So where you need to go is again to your setting within your package. So then you go to secret and variable, and then actions, and then your repository secrets, and then you add the name. As you can see from the documentation, they have everything written, and then you bring the second key that we just created exactly without any line, without anything, and then put it here. So this is our password, so you don't share it with anyone or anything like that. Alright, so add secret. Now we have both keys in, so we have the documenter key and just documenter SSH connection, which is public, while the other one is private. Alright, so let's go to the next step. So next, what you need to do is you need to add your link to the make file within documenter, within your docs folder, I believe. Let me just check real quick. So what you need to do is go into your doc folder that we created at the beginning of the video, and then make file. Then as you can see here, there is this line that's commented out. You need to remove the comments and replace this with your repository URL. So I'm just gonna go to my repository, copy the link name or the link address, and paste it here. The one important thing is you need to remove the protocol. So HTTPS, just remove it completely and just leave the github.com and wherever you have your username and also your package name, and these has to match, as I mentioned earlier. Then I'm gonna save it. Alright, so now we don't need this, Alright, so next step. So we have finished this step that basically replace the comment with our correct Julia link URL within GitHub. And the last step is to push your changes. So now we have everything set up. The only thing you need to do is to push the new changes. So I'm gonna call it is probably generated documentation. So this push will actually tell GitHub to create your GitHub pages and your documentation. So if I go again here and refresh it, you will see this yellow dots. So what this tells you is something is being worked on. And if you go to the actions here, you will see that the push that we just did is being run. So you would just wait until it's finished now. Alright, so I waited around 2 to 3 minutes, and as you can see here, the two workflow have been run successfully. And whenever you the workflow run and finish, what you can do is you can find the link to your documentation and the environment, or here, or you can go to, I believe, settings, and within the settings you can click on pages, and as you can see here, it will tell you that you have a page here. If you click at it, you will have your GitHub pages with the documentation. And yeah, this is pretty much it. If you want to edit the documentation, of course you go inside your package and edit the make file and the source file, and eventually you can do something like this with where you have all the documentation, and you can it's in latex, so it's pretty easy to understand and write. So yeah, thank you so much for watching.